Hey everybody, Crystal Gamer here with a quick build tutorial that will allow new builders to easily get into building and may even provide some tips or inspiration for people that have been at it for a while, especially in the roofing section of the program. Speaking of sections, this video is going to be done in a couple of parts, with the first part focusing on build and money cheats and how to use them, and the second part that will go over basic building and roofing. You'll notice that in the background I'm setting up a sim to go into the game. For those completely new, the game will want you to do this the first time. Once you get a sim all set and you click the check mark, it'll ask you if you want to save and play. You say yes, and it'll move you into the world map where you'll see Willow Creek. Unless you have seasons installed, in which case it'll ask you which season you want to start out with first and then take you to the world map after that. Now your screen may look a little bit different than mine. I have all the packs installed, so this is what it looks like with all of the worlds. We're going to click on Willow Creek though, because we know everyone who has the game has that. So now we can see the Willow Creek map with all of its plots of land, and it asks us to select a place to live. But we only have 20,000 simoleons, and some of the lots here cost more than that. That's going to take us into our first cheat for today. Since we're going to focus on building and realizing our creative potential, we want to get us a nice big lot, one that our Jane Doe can't afford. Now, I know this because the game tells me when I hover over the lot I want. You'll notice that it only tells me that we can't afford it, but there's no price listed for it. It will only list the price of a lot if we can afford it. If we hover over the lots down here, we can see the prices because they're within our sim's price range. But we want to be inspired to create, and that means we want a larger plot of land that will give us that feeling of unlimited space so that we can realize our building potential. That means we want this big, beautiful lot up here with the mansion on it. So how do we get our hands on that? Well, we have to bring up our cheat console and turn cheats on first and foremost. And we do that by hitting Control plus Shift plus C on the PC. This will bring up a little white text box in the upper left-hand corner, and in that you type testing cheats true. Testing cheats all together, space true. Now your testing cheats are on, and you can type in and activate a bunch of different cheats. Let's start with FreeRealEstate on. That's FreeRealEstate all together, space on. And poof, now we can see the name of the property and the price in green. And green means we can afford it. And not only can we afford it, but we get to keep our original 20,000 simoleons, which I think is a pretty dang good deal. So, okay, we are going to tell our sim to buy this by clicking on it, and down in the right-hand corner, we get this little confirmation moving truck, and we're going to say yes. It is going to ask us if we want it furnished or unfurnished, or if we just want to bulldoze the lot. We have 20,000 remaining funds. In this case, we're just going to bulldoze the lot because we are going to do our building. All right, so we are at our lot with our little Jane Doe girl here. I am just going to tell her to kind of move to the side because I don't want to have her around. I want her out of my way. Okay, so she is out of the way, and then I'm going to go into build mode, which is right up at the right-hand side up at the top, and you can also click F2 to get there. We get into build mode. We see a grid. G toggles the grid on and off. I have a tendency to build without it off. Some people like it on. I'll leave it on for the beginning of this just to make the visuals easier for the tutorial. Since it is a building tutorial, it might help to have it on for some of this stuff. Now, our sim has 20,000 simoleons. That's not very much, at least not for a builder like me. Depends on your style of building. I have a tendency to spend a lot. And so if you want more money to build with, there are a couple more cheats. We already have our cheats on, but if we want to bring up the console again, the little white box again, we do the Control-Shift-C again to bring up the white box up here. And there are a few different money cheats that we can use if we want to. And one of them is called Motherlode, and that gives us 50,000 simoleons. And that's MOTHERLODE. And you can see that her simoleon count just went from 20,000 to 70,000. There's another one called Kaching that will increase by 1,000. That's KACHING. Kaching. And every time we do that, she gets another $1,000. Don't you wish that existed in real life? I know I do. So, okay, so those are a few money cheats for you. And I also think Rosebud works. I never use the small cheats, but let's just double check. Yep, Rosebud does work. Rosebud gives you $1,000 as well, or 1,000 simoleons. So those are your money cheats, which are pretty important. Now, we have a few building cheats, and I'm going to go in and show you first before we get into building cheats. I'm just going to click on this chair here, and it's going to take us to all our different stuff. And so I'm just going to pull out the first item, and then I'm going to pull out another bed here. And as you can see, as I go over this, it turns it red. And I can't place it any closer. I have to place it in the blocks. It doesn't allow me to place it any closer. So one of the things that we can do to allow us to place things pretty much most anywhere is we can use what's called a move objects cheat. And so I already have my console up. I'm going to type in bb.moveobjects on. And we see I get a confirmation that the move objects cheat is on. And if I take my bed here and I now move it over the other bed, you can see that it doesn't turn the red. I can place it right over it if I want to. And if I wanted to place even more beds, I could just stack them up. Now the Sims would not be able to use the beds, and you get this funky little flickering thing that happens, but this cheat is very useful for moving things a little bit closer. If you want some things closer, you just do have to play test to make sure they'll work. So say we have a nightstand, and say that nightstand doesn't sit as close to the bed as I would like. I'm going to get rid of these other ones here. So we have this nightstand next to the bed. It's not as close as I would like, so I can move it a little bit closer and get it up against the bed. And the Sim will still use this without a problem. But anytime you're moving stuff like this, just make sure that you play test it afterwards. But that move objects allows you to move stuff pretty much anywhere, which is super flexible. I pretty much can't build without it. So that is probably the number one build cheat. Actually, there's another one let me talk to you about real quick. There could be another one that's even more important. I'm not sure. It depends on your preference. But I just threw a wall up. And I guess I should tell you how I did that for those that don't know. I click the B button to get to the wall tool and just click on it and make a wall. And that's pretty much it. But I'm going to click back on our chair, and I'm going to go to this drop down, and I'm going to go to decorations here. And I'm going to go to wall hangings, or paintings and posters it's listed as. And I'm going to select one of these wall hangings. Let me get a bigger one so we can see it a little bit better. That's a little bit bigger. Okay, so I'm going to select a wall hanging. If I want to move this wall hanging up, now on a regular wall hanging, I can move it with my mouse, but you see how far it goes up and down. One step is pretty big. If I want to move it just a little bit, I can click the 9 button and it moves it up incrementally. And if I click 0, actually it won't move that down. I need a regular object. A regular thing. Okay, here we go. Like this little guy. I can click up with the 9, down with the 0. So that's how you can move objects. So if I wanted a little gnome on this table, well, he actually goes on the table. I didn't expect him to. If he didn't want to go on the table, though, I could use the move objects to get him up there. Let me see something that might not. This won't sit on the table, but if I wanted to, not move objects, the 9 key. I can use the 9 key and get that up there. Now, the only thing sometimes you get a little problem with floating objects. Sometimes you have to embed objects in. And I know you're saying, Crystal, that is way too big for that table, but you can make it smaller by using the bracket keys. So I can make that object a lot smaller. I just hit the left bracket key twice, made it a lot smaller, fits on that little nightstand a lot better than it did as full size. And same thing, if I want to make this guy smaller, I can just take the bracket key and make him smaller. So if I like him on the night table, but I don't like him as big as he was, the bracket key will make him a little bit smaller. Conversely, the right-hand bracket key will enlarge things. So we can make our little gnome huge. We can keep going with him, make him absolutely huge. So you can do that as well. So the big things, 9 for up, 0 for down, left bracket to make something smaller, right bracket to make something bigger. I'm just going to click this and delete it. I'm actually clicking the delete key. You can also use the K key and you end up with a little sledgehammer. So K will give you your sledgehammer and you can delete things that way as well. All right, so next up, our next cheat is the Show Hidden Objects cheat. And for that one, you bring up your console again, type in bb.showhiddenobjects, bb.showhiddenobjects. I'm not sure if I said the period after the move objects. I hope I did. But it's bb.showhiddenobjects. And what will happen is you will get all of these objects down here that you would normally have to find in the game or create in the game, like say create at the woodworking table or something like that. So it gives you these objects here that you can use. And it'll just bring this stuff up if you have this open to somewhere, like it's bringing up all the decorations because that's where it was open to. You can also go to content over here and you now have a category called debug. And you can also type in this search box, you can type the word debug to have the hidden objects show up. You can see it just switched me over to the main debug category here, and here's a whole bunch more hidden objects. So there are a ton of hidden objects that are not custom content that you can use. There's a lot of different stuff here. Again, make sure that you play test when you use any of this stuff, because some objects require that you have certain things happen or are placed in certain ways, or some objects you just can't use. So make sure you play test if you use any of this stuff, but it does open up a world of other objects for you. And finally, our last cheat before we go into the building portion of the program is bb.ignoregameplayunlocksentitlement. And I know that's really long, but I'm going to bring up my testing console again, and I'm going to type that whole thing in. And so I have a confirmation that that cheat is on. I'm going to close the console again. I just hit Control-Shift-C to close the console again in case I hadn't said that. But what that will allow us to do now is see items that we could, or get items that we could not normally get that you would need to achieve something in the game. Such as this item here. We have a few items down here. This hand carved chess table. You unlock it by completing a gold tier at the weenie roast. So now I can actually get this and use this because I used that cheat. And same with this. This is unlocked at level 10 of the astronaut career. I can actually get that. And that's a kit, obviously not a full-blown rocket ship all put together. But anything that has this, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but it's got kind of like this, I don't know, star looking thing around it. So anything that has that around it, you can see that it has this sort of white and gray background, is something that requires an achievement, and the Ignore Gameplay Unlocks Entitlement will give you that achievement, or give you access to everything that requires an achievement. Now, if you want to skip typing cheats every time in the game, I have a shortcut that's a mod if you're open to using mods, and this is my #1 recommended mod. If you ask me, what can I not live without in The Sims? It's the MC Command Center. And I'll make sure I put the link to that below. And you can, I can't even tell you honestly what this mod does because it does so many different things. But one of the things that it does is it allows you to set it up so that you don't have to type in all of these cheats. So basically the game just defaults to all of these cheats and you don't have to type it in every time. So if you're someone that likes to play with cheats, if you're someone that's going to do a lot of building and you want that kind of flexibility, I highly recommend the MC Command Center. It also does a whole bunch of other stuff. You can change weather with it. You can change seasons with it, which you can also do all of that stuff via cheats, but MC Command Center makes it a whole lot easier to do it. So I highly recommend that mod if this is something that you're going to get into. So that concludes part 1 of our 2-part tutorial. To quickly review, you should now understand how to open up your cheat console and turn on your testing cheats, how to purchase any lot no matter the cost by using the FreeRealEstate on cheat, how to attain any amount of money by using 3 different money cheats, Motherlode for 50,000 simoleons and Kaching and Rosebud for 1,000 simoleons. For building, we looked at using the 9 and 0 keys to move objects up and down, the left and right bracket keys for enlarging and shrinking objects, bb.moveobjects for free placement of objects, bb.showhiddenobjects to give you access to all of the debug items in the build and buy modes, and bb.ignoregameplayunlocksentitlement to allow you to purchase reward items. Finally, I recommended you look into the MC Command Center mod so that you don't have to type in all the cheats every time, and for a whole host of other really great perks that make gameplay and building a lot smoother and easier. In the next video, we'll be looking at how to quickly and easily build a house that appears complicated, and we'll go over roofing, which is often the biggest challenge for people when building. And we're going to do it in a way that will, hopefully, make it more intuitive and natural for you to do. And that applies to those who have been building for a while as well, but might find roofing a challenge. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, or it inspired you or motivated you in any way, please don't forget to hit that like button before you leave, and leave a comment below if you have any questions. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell for notifications so that YouTube lets you know when I release my next video. I release a couple of videos a week that includes tutorials, builds, and challenge videos, and I'd love to have you be a part of the channel. Thanks so much for spending the time with me today, and I hope to see you all back again next time. Bye now.